What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your girl. Bro, I have so been missing this. This is crazy. You want to do something so bad, then you get hot on it, and then stuff just starts to happen, bro. And that's exactly what has happened with my podcast. But I'm learning me, and I'm adapting and overcoming. Yeah, I mean? So what's been going on, good people? I hope some people chime in here. Hear what we got to say, see what's going on, a little bit of something, something, something. So this series is gonna be called Cozy Closet Conversations because guess where I'm doing them? In my closet. What better place to do it, right? I spend most time in here anyway when I'm at home, either putting something new in here or looking for something to wear, right? My office is in here, so I'm gonna once I get it all together, it's kind of there a little bit. I still got shoes to put up and all of that, but once I get it there, we're gonna be with it. We're gonna be with it, yeah. But yeah. So what's been going on with you folks? What's been happening? I've been watching y'all on Facebook. Everybody been asking when you coming back on, Kecia. I got so many great topics to talk about. Oh man, therapy, just watching different podcasts. I follow podcasters, so they be having some great conversations, some great topics. From love to all kind of stuff. So I have some great topics coming. These will be like 30, 45-minute conversations, just something quick, something to keep your mind, your wheels are rolling, you know what I mean? But I wanted to start this one off with something kind of personal, Y'all know me. Y'all know. Well, tonight I ain't got the cup, I actually got the can. Okay. Um this one is kind of personal to me, because you know, they say if you want to make God laugh, tell him what you ain't gonna do, right? Yeah. So the topic of the first episode is mama's not always right. Because mama, she wasn't always right. So I don't know, some of y'all might remember beginning of the year back here sometime when I started with my story. Um, I did a very emotional episode. I was in my car and I was talking about how, it all started with church hurt. A lot of people took from that because at the time my daughter and I were really having a rough time. Um, but some people took from that the intent of the show. The intent of the show was to showcase or to bring to light what church hurt can do, what people in the church can cause hurt to someone, and how it can affect a person. That was the intent. But some people did take that from that. But some people did take from it as like a shot at my daughter, like I was taking a shot at her. Excuse me, which was definitely not the case. Um, I would never take a shot at my daughter, even regardless what the situation is, whether she's right or wrong. I would never publicly do that to her because I know what it feels like to be. Oh, I hope my little mic thing is working. 1 2 1 2 is it working. Is this thing going? So, hell, I forgot it was on there. No, no, okay. But back to what I was saying. So, it was not intended for it to appear that I was taking a shot at my daughter because that definitely was not the case. Because if anything, my children in that whole situation, my children were the one who was hurt and used, in my opinion, in that whole situation. And I would never want else's kids to go through what my kids went through. So, um, I want to publicly apologize to my daughter because it did hurt her. And that is not the case. That's never anything that I would want to do, is to hurt any of my children, to hurt anyone's kids, you know. I've always tried to be a refuge to anyone that was hurting. And so for me to do something intentionally to hurt someone else, especially someone who came from my loins, I would never do that. And anybody that know me knows that that is not my character. At that time, I was speaking from a place of hurt. I'm still working on that level of forgiveness because that situation just keeps stinging, you know. So I'm still working on it, you know. But I want to publicly apologize to my daughter. You know, I want to tell her that I am sorry that what I said, anything that I said, um, hurt her. And to her friends and my family that felt like I was attacking my daughter, that was definitely not the case. My daughter and her happiness and her peace has always been foremost in my mind. So I am sorry that it was taken that way, because that was not how it was intended to be taken. It was intended for the spotlight to be on the person causing the hurt. That's what it was. So I can see, you know, both sides of the coin. So I'm not too big to say that I messed up. And I did, you know. But again, not making excuses, but it was taken from a place, it was made from a place of hurt. So you know how they say hurt people, that sometimes happen unintentionally, you know. So, you know, through therapy, lots and lots of therapy, me and my therapist, you know, I get kudos to my therapist, because let me tell you, she do not back down for me. Anybody that knows me know I have a type A personality, and she just gives it to me. When I'm wrong, she tells me I'm wrong, and she stands by it. She stands 10 toe down by it. So I do apologize to my daughter. I do apologize to anyone else that it might have affected in a negative manner, because that was not the case. Now, now that I have said that, let me go into the key points that I want to point out. So now, all of that and everything that my daughter and I has gone through, that was just not, I'm not that parent that is going to say, no, I did say it. You know, it's her life. She going to live it. She can do what she wants to do. But we got to a point where we stopped fighting each other, and we started dealing with the problem. So now she and I do counseling together to work on our relationship, to work on the issues that we have where we can't effectively communicate with each other. Because I love my kids. Anybody that knows me knows I love my kids. But, comma, dot, dot. She said something to me that really has me thinking, and I talked about this in therapy, and I can see, I can see her side of the coin, and I could definitely see my side of the coin. But hear this. She said to me, she said, I know that we was in therapy, and she says, because we were talking about uh, a situation that happened, and I was selfishly, I made it about me. Like, how did you do this to me? You didn't think about how I feel. But in reality, it was something that was happening to her. And long story short, she said, I understand that you tried to raise us different from how you were. And she says, but what happened was everything that you was sheltering me from was what I needed to know. Because when I got out into the world took the gloves off. And the things that you were sheltering me from, I had no clue how to deal with them. Slap in the face, huh? Because the theory about it is this: we as parents, whether they're your biological kid or not, we do, because we grew up in a time where, you know, um molestation was happening, abuse was happening, all these things was happening, and what goes on in the house stays in the house. You don't talk about it with nobody. We wasn't given the tools to deal with these things, right? So hence there were certain things that we recreated as parents, as rearing our children. In our minds, it was like, it's just certain things. I'll speak for me. How about that? I raised my kids where I never wanted my kids to feel like I didn't love them, for one. Even if we didn't have nothing, because there was times when we didn't have anything, but we had love and we had each other. So my kids have a lot of love for people. They love people. They're willing to help anyone. They have great big hearts. But at the same time, you know, did I really prepare them for the people who is not going to show them love? Did I really prepare them to understand that everybody is not going to love you the way that you love them? Because everyone is not raised the same. Everyone does not have the same ideology. Did I prepare them for that? I can honestly tell you, no. At the same time, I raised my kids that anything, you could tell me anything that's going on. Just tell me. You got questions, you things you want to know, you need to come to mama first, all right? Because I didn't want my kids to hear anything wrong out in the street. But then that goes back to this. Was my answer completely honest? And a lot of times it wasn't. Why? Because I was protecting them. In my eyes, I was protecting them. What in reality, I did not prepare them for certain things to happen, because everybody is raised different. Everybody thinks different, you know? So they're great people. They are hard chargers. They are the hustlers. Dominique and Dante gonna make it happen because that's what they saw. That's what they saw me do. They saw me get up 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. They saw me make it happen. They didn't have to go without. They never knew that we were struggling, or I didn't have no gas in the car and that's why we was walking. Like they never knew these things. And so they have that hustler's mentality. They have that, if I want it, I'm gonna go out there and get it because I know it's possible. They have that. They have resiliency because they were military kids. They are very resilient. But in this day and age, millennials, they like to talk about things. They want to know the whys. We went through this phase when I was still in the military, the generation of soldiers that was coming through. They want to know why. And us old soldiers, like, you ask me why, you just execute. But that's the generation that my kids are in. They want to know the whys. Why? But as a child, they didn't know to ask the whys. As adults, why did you say that, mom? Why did you do it this way? Like, my thing about school was because this is how I was raised. You just need to pass. You need to get out of high school and you need to go to college. If you excel, great. But I just need you to go and pass. And honestly, that was the kind of parent that I was. And like my daughter now is in education. And she tells me all the time, I really wish you would have pushed school harder, mom, because my kids don't like school. They like to go do what they got to do, and that's it. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't like school neither. I know those that know me will say different, but it's like smoking and know you could possibly get cancer. Like, I know it's gonna be hard and but I do it anyway. But anyway, but you understand what I'm saying, that we didn't think about it like that at the time. We just knew that we was trying to do what was best for our kids so that they didn't have the feelings that we had. We were attempting to break a generational foundation, a generational curse. That's what we were attempting to do. And in a lot of ways we did, but in a lot of ways we created new ones that now affect my generation, Generation X. It affects our grandchildren because our kids think different. They want to know the whys. So now you got to have these hard conversations with them when they ask you the why. It can't be, because I'm going to just be honest. I was that parent. Well, mama, why did you do so and so? I just don't understand. Well, then yeah, it ain't for you to understand. Don't ask me why. But in the reality, to help them to better understand why we think the way we think, why we act the way we do, we need to explain the why to them. So once I started explaining the why through therapy, because it's a safe zone for us, because other than that, we'll be at each other's throats. But nonetheless, we started explaining our whys. Just like I wanted to know, why did you make this choice? Why didn't you come to me? Or, whatever it was. I needed to know the why. And when she said that to me, and I just got to thinking, like, I really fucked him up. Like, I say that in jokingly, but we really just all we really did, unfortunately, was we created new generational foundations for our children. And so I'm not saying that everybody does this. I'm not saying that anyone else has made the same mistakes that I had, but I'm just saying, as a parent, as a generational X parent, like, just look at some of the whys. Why did you have these conversations? Why did you enforce these restrictions? Why did you allow them to do one thing and not the other? Just look at the whys and make sure that your children understand the whys. Because if not, they can be kind of resentful. And if you don't have that foundation with those children, they won't tell you that. They'll just try to deal with those whys. And I am thankful that my son told me early, so we were able to deal with it. But my daughter didn't tell me early. And so I couldn't understand what was going on with her. I was just like, in my mind, I'm just like, I didn't raise her like this. What is wrong with her? She has been taken, like her mind, the zombies got her, some shit. Because I ain't raised her like this. She did not come from my loins thinking like this. But she really did come from my loins thinking like this because I instilled those behaviors in her. And so, um, do a lot of therapy, and we continue to do therapy. Hell, we got a session tomorrow. Um, and it helps us because sometimes there are times that I want to say something, or she might want to say something to me, and we don't feel like it's a safe space to have that conversation. We wait until therapy, and then we have where we're in a safe space and we'll talk about those things. Because before it was, I'm just going to tell her how I feel, she's just going to deal with it. And then, as you know, we hollering and cussing at each other, and I'm about ready to knock her teeth out, because at the end of the day, I'm thinking, at the end of the day, I'm still your mama. And she's thinking, at the end of the day, I'm grown and you ain't going to disrespect me as a woman. See what I'm saying? Because at the end, let the truth be told, she still is an adult. And so I still owe her a level of respect. Just like she still owes me a level of respect because I'm her mother. But that, because you are the parent, does not give you the right to be disrespectful and hurtful to your children. Like, you have to take accountability for that, especially if they go out and do what you're doing to them to other people, because you have set the standard that this is how it goes. So I would encourage those of us that have similar thinkings, those of us that have challenging relationships with our children, just like not talking about it, that is not a solution. Okay? Not talking about it is not a solution. It is not. It's making it worse. It's making y'all see them eyebrows? Baby. Them eyebrows is everything. Making it worse, not talking about it is not making it better. It's not, how you say, if you don't talk about it, it'll go away. It's not going to go away. You need to talk about it. You need to, address the monkey in the room. Like, the monkey don't belong in the room. It's out of his habitat. Deal with it. And it'll just think, like, we all would like a perfect, peaceful life. Like, that's what I'm striving for. I just want peace. That's all I want. I want peace. I want love. I want money. I want good sex. And I want travel. That's what I want. That's where I am in my life. And I had to deal with these thorns because these were the things that weren't giving me peace. This one thing. And so it was out of order. So I had to bring it back in order. Um, there's no handbook to parenting, especially if you're carrying trauma. And I was carrying trauma. And I had to deal with that trauma. And unfortunately, I was over 40 years old when I started to really deal with that trauma. Honestly, to be honest with you, I thought I had dealt with the trauma. But what really made me really deal with the trauma is when I started realizing the trauma I had inflicted on my own children. Because it's like, no, that wasn't, I played those cards wrong. I played my hand wrong. I reneged. I played my hand wrong. And so I wanted to fix that. And so that's what I had to do. Because believe it or not, all this, your relationship with your children, like it affects everything about them. Like it affects their relationships, their friendships. It affects yours. Like it really does. Because who wants to be in relationship with someone who has just chaos when it comes to their family members? Who wants to be in relationship with someone who doesn't have a effective relationship with their children? Like it ain't about the baby mamas and the baby daddies. I guess at some point it is when the kids are younger, but I'm talking about adult kids. Like, because the dynamics of the relationship change when your children become adults. You have to respect them as adults, just like they have to always respect you as their parent. Um, but there's no rule to parenting. You're not gonna always get it right. And most of the time, when you think you got it right, a lot of the times you probably don't. You probably don't. And that's all right. Just don't be so big to where you can't acknowledge that you didn't get it right, because you're not going to always get it right. And that's all right. You got to be able to grow, learn and grow from it, you know. And honestly, being in the place that I am, like, I try not to let too many things bother me to the point where I can't sleep at night or I can't function normally. I try not to. I'm trying something new with boundaries, because I feel like and us know I feel like that. I have learned through therapy that I lacked boundaries. That's why I allowed a lot of people to hurt me. And so I had to set boundaries with my children. That was a challenge, because you want to give your children everything. But I had to set boundaries with my kids, again, because you guys are adults. The only person I don't have no boundaries with is my granddaughter. She just run all over me. It's whatever. Yeah. But I had to set boundaries in my life to protect my peace and what I've worked so hard for. My life is very peaceful because it's certain things that I don't allow in it. And my daughter said to me today, I just don't understand how you could just be like, oh, whatever. Oh, just F it. Because if it doesn't bring me happiness, or it doesn't bring a neutral feeling, it's gonna bring you something negative. And I don't want that. If a conversation starts and it could possibly take me someplace that I don't want, I try very hard to stay out of that. I try not to put myself in situations that something negative could possibly happen. Now I know it may sound like, I shut people out, but I don't. I have boundaries now, because a lot of times I didn't have boundaries. I just did what people wanted me to do because that was going to make them happy. And ultimately, I felt like as long as the people around me are happy, I'm happy. But that's not true. That's not true. Making other people happy is not the only piece of happiness you deserve. And I had to realize that for myself. So I'm no longer compromising for half of it. You need to give to me what I'm giving to you. It's no more 80-20, because we not married. I'm gonna pick up that 20. I'm gonna pick up that 80 when all you got is 20, just like you pick up my 80 when all I got is 20 for you. Like, no. because that's how people take advantage of you. And so, um, and I had to learn that with my children. I had to set boundaries with them because at one point my kids just thought, if there was a problem, call my mom. I'm gonna call my mom, which is fine to a degree. You have to problem solve, baby. Problem solve. Figure it out for yourself. Hell, half the time I don't even remember what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, I shouldn't be the first person you call if you get a flat tire in a whole 3, 4 states over. Don't call me. I can't do nothing. See what I'm saying? But that was, it's been a interesting 6 months. I have learned a lot about myself. Yeah, I really have. And I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful for the journey. I'm thankful for who I am. Um, I'm happy in my space. There's more that I want, and prayerfully those things will come along. But I am happy when it comes to my children, when it comes to mothering my children. I'm happy where we are now because we're steadily growing and becoming better. So I'm just here to tell y'all that mama and daddy is not always right. We're not always right, y'all. And we got to be able to tell our kids that we're not always right. And we got to be able to tell them, like, hmm, we effed that up. And it's okay if you mess up. Because guess what? We don't want them to, because my daughter did have, not to go off, but my daughter did have that ideology in her mind that my mama was perfect. She made everything happen. She was fantastic. She did all these great things, and here I am struggling. What's wrong with me? I'm not a good mama. But it's like, and in my mind, I'm like, girl, you have no idea how we struggle. You have no what? And I'm trying to explain to her, you're not the only one going through this. But it's hard to receive that from someone that you think had it all together. Like, no matter how many times I tell her, I didn't have it all together. Yes, I had to file bankruptcy at 23 years old. Yes, we was on food stamps and WIC and all of this. Like, yes, like there was times, like you don't remember. Like they always talk about how, oh, mom, I remember when we was younger, you used to make these bomb grill and cheese grill ham and cheese sandwiches. Now they understand why. I perfected my craft to here. But I'm study telling her, look, but she couldn't receive it because in her eyes, mama always made it happen. They didn't go without. They always had the best of the best. So she couldn't understand that concept. So somebody else could come and tell her the same exact thing that I told, but she would receive it from somebody else. And a lot of times it will cause dysfunction between the two of us because she'll feel like I'm just saying this because of how I live, but I'm not. It like no, I really experience these things like for real, for real. But I'm thankful for everything that we've been through. I'm thankful for the journey ahead. I'm thankful to see how she's going to continue to prosper in this next season of her life. Um, And I'm just thankful for the relationship that I had with both of my children at this point. I would have never guessed we would be here now. I would have never guessed that we would have some of the hard conversations we've had in the last 6 to 8 months. But I'm happy about it. Growth is good. Counseling is good. It is okay. I even got we encourage my son enough. Baby, you need to go talk to somebody. You gotta let that out. You gotta let that caged animal free. And so he has let the caged animal free. So we're definitely thankful to see that for him because again, my son grew up without a father in his life. So, there was some hard days for him. And at the end of the day, there are certain things that a mama cannot teach a son. Certain things a mama cannot give a son. And so I learned that and I pressed on, and my son is doing fantastic, and I'm super proud of him. So, my visitor, I have a roommate. If you can't hear her, she's yelling at the TV. She's already come to the door once. I asked her to stay outside until I was done. So I guess she says it's time to be done. So I hopefully the next time I will have done other half of the closet. I'm not gonna make any promises. And then you guys get to see the other half of the closet because I think I got a problem. Like, yeah, I got a lot of shoes, a lot of clothes, a lot of purses. Like, I just have a lot. Yeah, yeah. So, it was great spending this time with you guys. It was great, just because I always tell you my podcast is like my therapy. Like, I watch all the other podcasts. It's like a release for a lot of us. So I'm glad that you guys have decided to join me this time around. I know I've been gone a while. I probably didn't get a lot of viewers, but that's okay. I'm going to still do what I'm going to do. I'm going to still do me. And we're going to let it be what it's going to be. You hear me? But I'm looking forward to all the next couple of shows. I'm looking forward to um, interacting with you guys. I'm looking forward to us getting back on track with Chat and Chew. So the Cozy Closet conversation is a way for us to get back, for me to get back into Chat and Chew, and all my guests and all my new viewers. So before I go, of course, I want to thank God for this opportunity. I want to thank God for the ability, the wisdom to just be able to come on and share my story. And I pray that it reaches the ears of someone who needs to hear it in the current time that they're in. So, thank you again. Like, share, and comment. Let's keep this dialogue going. There's some things that you might need to tell me that can help me. Like I said, I'm growing and I'm going and I'm growing as I go. So, on that note, I love you guys. I missed you guys. And I will see you next week.